I've just had a bit of a eureka moment in my life, and it seems to me that actually, genuinely, we're all geniuses, and we just convince ourselves that we're not. Hear me out. This comes from a standpoint of it's consciousness first, biology second. Everything in this existence is an emanation of consciousness. It is biological too, but it's consciousness first, and that biology is, in essence, an emanation of that consciousness. Now, if I don't make sense to you, that's fine. Switch off now. This probably isn't the video for you. We're going to get scientific too. Please bear in mind as well, if you don't have this understanding in yourself, this won't make sense. This whole existence, physically, is vibrational in nature. Now, the only reason I know these things is because I've dived deep into my consciousness and had a look for myself, genuinely, truly. Every answer that you've ever wanted to any question is within you. You just need to pay attention to it. Unfortunately, at this time in present history, we all believe we're the thoughts in our head. We believe that is me talking to myself. And we believe that we're, oh, I'm a good person, or I'm a bad person, and we create this identity in our minds that isn't us, because that identity is seen in a larger consciousness. You are the unchanging within, and we do witness in front of ourselves the personality, or the person that I believe myself to be, change throughout our lives. But there's one thing that's constant. So we know we can't be this personal thing that changes on the surface level of consciousness. We are the unchanging thing, of course. We must recognize that for us to witness and notice the changes in our person, our personal views, our opinions, to witness that changing nature, there needs to be something that isn't changing behind it. We are not who we think we are. We are a much greater consciousness, and let me prove some more, put a little bit more flesh on the bones just to really throw this out the water, and just that it's fact. You are not the body. I can say, for example, that this shirt is mine, but I can't say that this shirt is me. If I do, I sound crazy, right? Same with the body. I can say that this body is mine, but as soon as I start saying this body is me, I'm a little bit crazy, aren't I? Who's the my in the body? We are spirit, we are consciousness, we are not the body. It's my body, I own it. Who's the owner? I'm going to go into something today that is probably going to, well, if you followed me so far, it will probably sound great. If you haven't followed me so far, switch off. This will not make sense to you. So watch this video. I have come to the understanding that we really need to set up some sort of Kundalini Institute, some sort of Kundalini Research Centre. The only issue that we have in the world at the moment is, well, we have plenty of issues actually, I can't say the only one, but talking from this standpoint, the issue we have at the moment is science does not necessarily recognise consciousness as a thing. Science is all about biology and physics, and that's fine because physics and spirituality are one and the same. Science and spirituality are one and the same. We just don't realise it yet. And as we're beginning to merge this, which we are by putting our consciousness into artificial intelligence, by sending that out into space and whatever, we still don't realise we're doing that yet, but we are. Our consciousness is creating amazing things in the external world, and we call it artificial. It isn't artificial, we've created it. Our consciousness has created it, and therefore it isn't artificial, it's an emanation of our consciousness, and therefore it is consciousness, an extension of consciousness. Interestingly, I've come to an amazing idea in my head today. I can't even claim the idea to be mine. Now hear me out when I say this. The me that is taking credit for this idea isn't me. That's my ego doing that. We are not our egos, we are not this identity. However, when Kundalini awakens within people, it's been said that it creates amazing sages, seers, geniuses. I genuinely believe that Albert Einstein was a genius. I genuinely believe that Nikola Tesla was a genius. Now, how did they have access to the information that they had about the nature of the universe? I genuinely believe they had a Kundalini awakening. There's no other way that people could have known this sort of knowledge without actually going through this awakening process. Everybody is going through this awakening process at their own rate, their own speed. Some choose a slower path, some choose a faster path. For some people, any of the things I'm talking about now doesn't interest them, and therefore they don't come over to this way of living, to understanding the nature of our consciousness. Really, really interestingly for me, the geniuses that have been created, I genuinely believe, have had a Kundalini awakening, because they go then beyond the identity and they become the consciousness that they are. Not this thought or not this belief, I am something, or I'm this kind of person, or I'm that kind of person. Thoughts, 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 it's all mental, isn't it? When we relax the mental aspect of our consciousness, we actually become the greater consciousness behind it, the being. Also bear in mind that the being is witnessed in something greater too. Hopefully we're not going too deep. And hopefully you're still with me. If you're not, switch off. The next bit's definitely not going to make any sense. This whole existence is vibrational. We know this. That's science. Everything in your body is just particles vibrating. Fantastic, really. And the only thing with science is it hasn't really merged consciousness into its practices yet, and it's going to begin to, because science and spirituality are going to have to become one, and I genuinely believe that's how we're going to go to the stars. I don't mean rocket-fueled stars, I mean vibrational stuff. It's only when we awaken to the vibrational nature of ourselves, through spiritual practice, through yoga, through consciousness-based practice, that we begin to open our minds up to ideas that are beyond the physical, shall we say. They're not really beyond the physical, because the physical makeup is vibrational, but we're talking on a vibrational level now. We can't see vibrations with our apparatus, meaning eyes. We can't see vibration with scientific apparatus either. But we can see the effects of the vibration. I suppose we probably can see vibration, but what I'm talking about is now our brains, our minds create brainwaves. That is vibrational in nature. We can measure that on whatever the piece of equipment is. I don't know what, I'm not a scientist. What is it? An electro EEG, ECG, or whatever it is. Now, I've had a really cool idea. Because these brainwaves are coming out at different frequencies, they are vibrating, they have a different vibrational frequency. Now that frequency is measured in hertz. When we're in, let's use three basic states. Gamma brainwaves, theta brainwaves, delta brainwaves. Factual, these are science. They give off a vibrational frequency. They are created, they are a brainwave. An electromagnetic wave that comes out of our mind. Now, when we measure it on our mind perspective, which I believe science is doing, we don't really understand and can't really then project that out into the external world and control things with that piece of knowledge. I don't know if that'll make sense to you, but don't worry. Because we don't know where it comes from. Now, these vibrational frequencies that we release from our mind electromagnetically, I only know this from my deep going into meditation and perhaps a little bit of Kundalini help and little synchronistic downloads that I've seen through my life. These theta, alpha, gamma rays that are created through our minds are representational of states of being. It's emotional, it's not mental, these brainwaves. Although we can pick up on the brainwaves through measuring with our scientific equipment, we can't manipulate and use that because we don't understand that in fact it's emotional. The emotion or the state of being, the feeling within creates the vibrational frequency, gamma, theta, delta, brainwave that comes out. We can measure the frequency, we know what the frequency is. Now, I believe, and it is a deep trusting knowing within me, and I'm gonna find out if I can find somebody that can help me prove it, which is why I say we need to set up some sort of Kundalini Research Center, because science and Kundalini and yoga and consciousness, they are one. In going to ourselves and going within ourselves, we understand the nature of the universe, and through that, that's science, that's physics. Now our scientists do a really great job, but they are missing a trick, I believe. Maybe they're maybe they're onto something now, maybe they have this, I don't know. If they do have it, they're not releasing it to the public. But these states of beings are emotional, they're feelings within, and they give off the electromagnetic waves through our minds. Now, if we can believe this to be the beginning of us really merging our consciousness and being able to control technology, external technology, with our consciousness. For example, let's say a alpha wave, brainwave, gives off a certain gigahertz or a certain hertz frequency. I don't know what it is. Let's say it's 8 hertz. The scientists will know what it is. Let's say it's 8 hertz. That's a very specific vibrational frequency, right? And we create that with a state of being within. The alpha state, should we call it, to keep it scientific. The alpha state, through meditation. So that's radiating out a frequency. If we can create a piece of technology that can pick up that frequency, we can begin to control technology with that transmitter in it to do things that we want with our minds, with our consciousness, with our state of being. If we can begin to find out what our... If we can begin to find out how we create these states through emotions, through state of being, we can begin to consistently emit that electromagnetic signal, that specific vibrational frequency. Let's say 8 hertz. And we can have a computer pick that up, or some transmitter, some vibrational frequency transmitter pick that up, and the computer do an action, create a physical action or something based upon that specific vibrational frequency, that 8 hertz, that this alpha state that I've created within my state of being emits. We can begin to control technology and have technology do amazing things for us through our consciousness, but we have to understand that it's vibrational in nature first. If somebody out there has the equipment to be able to test this by going into deep meditative states, has the whereabouts or the knowledge to be able to measure these frequencies, I would love to get in contact with you, because there's a really cool experiment that I have in my mind that I really feel genuinely will work. Now, I may well sound absolutely nuts. Now, I know I'm right from my experience, from going into these states. I know that they emit frequencies. The rest, I need a scientist or a tech guy to be able to help with that side of things. If you know one, let me know. If this seems interesting to you and resonates with you, let me know down below. I'd be interesting to hear, because I get that what I talk about can sound a bit... Probably not to you guys, because you guys are with me. I know that a lot of people on the channel here are going through, an awakening process, and they're awakening to the real truth of the vibrational nature of the universe and who we are and our place in it. Beyond the identity, beyond the mind, beyond the emotions, but as the witness and the manipulator or the controller of all of those things. We're multi-dimensional beings, we really are. Scientifically, that's science. Of course, if you wish to awaken some Kundalini within you, or you just wish to learn about the vibrational nature of the universe within you, the first step you can take is a free breathing practice down below. It's called Cosmic Double Breathing. It's amazing. It will oxygenate, it will energize, it will relax, and it will totally detox your system, so that we begin to remove this negative egoic identity that we have in the mind that constantly tells us we're not good enough, and come into the real space of our true being. From this space, genius is born. We are all geniuses. We just don't know it. And it's when we awaken, we wake up to the consciousness that we are, rather than the me in my head, that we're not. And when we become that consciousness, it's like we connect up to the universal internet, and downloads drop in. And you'll know this if you're going through it. It is just fact. And if somebody's willing to work with me, I'd love to prove it. So, thank you very much for watching. Of course, if you wish, the Awakening Accelerator course is down below. If you're in the dark night of the soul and you wish to remove yourself from the pain in the fastest way possible without spending years in the hurt. And by all means, down below there's a free community for anybody that is going through an awakening process. It's scientific, it's not spiritual. And we're beginning to change that outlook now, and it's good fun to do that. So thanks for being here. Have a really, really good day. Thank you.